Night Ed. Welcome to this video for the University of Mississippi High School and its course, World Religions. This is the first video that you will view as part of this course, and it basically is a jumping off point or starting point on how to study something that is so important and revered. We're going to look at different world religions, and these religions are very important to the people who adhere to them, the people that follow them. And so we're going to try to start dissecting these, and to some people that might be a little odd because you're going to take something that's very important to somebody and start looking at it in slices and examining it, okay? So we're going to learn how to do that and do it well and do it tactfully. So that's one of the first objectives of this course. So as a starting point, what is religion? Well, religion is something that just can't be combined in one category. It's all over the place. Religion affects every facet of life. So in this slide, as you can see, it's geography, history, economics, English, art. Well, this list will go on and on, okay? You can think of history, political science. Many things are affected by religion. So once again, when we study religion, we're not just going to study religion, but you're going to see that it spreads out all over the place. And so what is it really spread out to? Well, these are kind of the main pieces that we'll see in this course. We have anthropology, archaeology, the arts, linguistics and literary theory, mythology, philosophy, psychology, theology. So let's start with anthropology. Anthropology, this is going to look at how religion affects culture. Okay, so anthropo, people, ologies, study of. So we're going to study the people and their religion and how religion affects culture. And what is culture? Well, culture is kind of the summation of everything that makes up your life in a particular area. So family interaction, family member roles, the roles of the individual in society, marriage, raising children, labor, the work labor, not the child labor. It's kind of too close to the children part. And property rights, who gets to own property and all these other things. So anthropology focuses on religion a good bit. Archaeology. Well, think Indiana Jones. You know, he made archaeology cool. Well, a big part of archaeology is going to find artifacts, and these artifacts either will help prove things or help discover things that were important to that society. And oftentimes in these, especially ancient societies, the things you're going to find are going to have references to their religious belief system, all right? And so another cool thing about archaeology is they can sometimes find things that lead to translations of different items. Think Rosetta Stone, okay? It's not just a computer program to learn language. It was actual event, actual thing that they found that helped basically change the study of archaeology for a good bit. The arts. Religion and the arts have always been friends. They've always been intertwined because the arts have been used to promote religion, and religion has used art to express itself. So the arts, once again, when I say art, it's not just paintbrush, right? It can be dance, it can be sculptures, it can be theater, it can be all these many different things. You can even say textiles, from like rugs people make or clothing that they wear. That all these things express something. And of course music has so much to do with religion and vice versa. So we're going to attack the arts a good bit through this. Linguistics and literary theory. This is actually my favorite, which is why I probably wrote too much on the slide, but never mind that. So linguistics looks at language. Language at a particular point in time is a vessel to express what people find as important. That's why every year we add words to the dictionary, because certain words become more in use than others, and we also chunk some words because we don't use them as much. Religion greatly affects language, which is kind of weird to think about, but it really does. And a big way that it does it is when a religious book is printed, it solidifies the language at that moment in time. Think about it. Before books, if all we're doing is talking, well, that language changes quickly. Just think about slang. What was cool to say 10 years ago, that slang changes because it's not really written down and solidified. English language is no different. If you have had to read William Shakespeare Macbeth, it's a difficult read because of the way it's written. But what's so different about that versus the old King James Version? It's a little difficult to read because it's changed a good bit, but it's a whole lot easier than Macbeth. Well, in my opinion anyway. But the words are very different in the way they're expressed and things like that. And the reason why is in 1611, when the old King James was printed, everybody got a copy of that. Whereas Macbeth, well, not everybody had that on their shelf at home. And so in 1611, the English language kind of hit the brakes and they didn't change as much. You'll see the same thing in Germany with the Gutenberg press. Martin Luther translates the Bible into German, and all of a sudden the German language screeches down to a crawl and doesn't change as much. So once again, religion affects linguistics in a big way. Mythology, the study of myth. But what is myth? When we talk about myth, we normally think of definition number 2, right? A widely held but false belief or idea, okay? You get in an argument with a friend about gluten-free or gluten intolerance or something like that. Well, you're like, oh, it's just a myth. No, it isn't. And then you get in a big argument. Well, if you said that, you use myth, you're basically implying that it's fake. In the study of religion, you have to jump back to number 1. And it says a traditional story that concerns an early history of a people. It explains some natural or social phenomenon, and it typically involves the supernatural. If you notice in definition 1, there's nothing in there that says it's a false belief, okay? So when we refer to myth within the study of world religions, we're just talking about it as a story that helps explain something, okay? It doesn't mean it's wrong, all right? So hang on to that definition. It's an important distinction in the study of world religion. The thing about mythology is people, when they study it, they're going to look at stories, at text, and the art of that particular religion, because what is expressed through the myths of a culture, that's a hard word to say, myths, okay, but stories that are expressed through myths of a culture, well, that also shows what they value as important, because they have an explanation and that was important to write down. Philosophy. The cool thing about philosophy is it exists in part because of religion, okay? Religion accepts things on the basis of faith, right? And faith is a good value to have within a religion. Well, philosophy tries to look at those same events or those same explanations, and it says, I want to find the rational or systematic method here. And so the two of them, they aren't opposed by default. Many times they run in tandem. They're intertwined because one is trying to explain the other, okay? It's just maybe a different end to the system or a different explanation, things like that. So once again, psychology is a big part of religion because, well, psychology is trying to explain the emotional side of things or the mental state or the behavior of a person. Well, religion affects all of those things. In fact, I think many people can make the claim that if religion doesn't affect your emotion or your behavior, well, perhaps you aren't a very stringent adherent to that faith. Theology. Well, no kidding, that has to do with religion because theo is God and ology is study of, so theology is the study of God. So what does that mean when you study it? Well, a theologian is a person who studies that religion. The interesting thing about theology, if someone's approaching the study of religion through theology, it kind of implies that they already believe it is true, and so they're trying to learn more about the intricate details. If there's a person who wants to study Christianity in the United States, well, part of their theology instruction is they're going to study the original languages that the books are in. So they're going to study Greek, they're going to study Hebrew. So that's what theology. The same goes for any religion that especially has a geographic or linguistic tie. Islam, well, you need to study Arabic, right? If you're going to study Hinduism, well, there's going to be a lot of things in Hindi. So once again, these religions, oftentimes, since they are found more prevalently in basically a region, that region also has a language tied to it and a culture tied to it. And once again, it's all tied together. So study religion, you kind of study everything, which makes this class, I think, more interesting than others. So time to report for duty. You're going to do great. This is your first assignment, and we're going to look at the arts, mainly because, well, I think it's interesting. And number two, it basically allows you to look at something rather from a book side of things, say, oh, I'm just going to read these few paragraphs and answer some multiple choice questions. This is going to allow you to go out and find something that is an art form. Doesn't matter what kind of art. It can be like a painting, it can be a statue, but you're going to find a picture of these things and include it. All right. Here's an example to help you explain it. This is an image that was painted by Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali, he would experiment with different forms of crucifixes, and so just from that, you know, he's affiliated with like maybe Catholicism or just the Protestant church, something with that. He loved to paint. He painted a lot of crucifixes. He painted a lot of flowers too, but these are pictures of his that have a religious theme, right? So your report, you need to go find two pictures that are of art of some sort. These art pictures have to have something to do with a particular religion, okay? You need to find out who was the artist and include a short bio of the artist. You need to find out what religion that artist adhered to. And I got artist or artists plural because sometimes the work of art was created by more than one person. You also need to include in there, did this artist paint other things in addition to this religious theme? And then you need to give your opinion of the art, okay? There's no right or wrong answer with the opinion. It's your opinion. So I want you to do that for me. With your opinion, the only requirement I have is one that it's informed. In other words, don't be attempting to show off your ignorance, which you never want to do that. And number two, you're going to be tactful. So even if you disagree or you find the painting terrible, well, don't say, oh, it's terrible and it's stupid and dumb. You know, we're all adults here. You're going to do well. You're going to find out ways to explain something in a very tactful manner, and you're going to rock it. And this report can be a Word document. It could be a video. It can be a presentation. It is totally up to you on the format of it, but it does need to have these things. And once again, I'll have a link to this presentation below. And if you have any questions, feel free to email your instructor. That'd be me.